So I'm Mike McCloud. I'm with All Clear Junk Removal. We're based in BA. We also go up to Owasso. We go to pretty much the whole greater Tulsa area. Sure.
A little closer to you. There you go.
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect.
So the other thing we do a lot is we'll do like apartment resets. So if the apartment complex needs something cleaned out, we'll do all the hard surface cleaning, the carpet cleaning, things like that. We'll also do corporate. If they're doing like a big remodel and they need help hauling things off, we'll do that. And then our big passion and the thing we're trying to really get in on is helping the community that can't really help themselves, right? So we're trying to grow the business to a point where we can give severely discounted rates or free rates for maybe the elderly or people with disabilities that have things they need hauled off or moved or just taken care of, right? We're not really a remodel service, but we'll definitely help with getting things cleared out of their space or, even removing a vehicle or something like that. And we want to be able to do that for those because, we all have grandparents or we've had grandparents or our parents are getting older and, it's hard, especially I think our generation, you spoke about you're originally from Minneapolis. So you got to build that village here, right? And I think in that same respect, people's kids leave. And when they leave, it's hard for them to support their parents when their parents get a little older and a little longer in age, right? Or, life events happen and maybe someone that was very capable is less capable, but again, is away from their immediate family. So they've got to rebuild that village. And that's really what we're trying to do is help create that village here in the greater Tulsa area.
No, that's awesome. And it's like just the heart behind it, I think, is what's so cool. And that's what I want to make sure that we hit on today because, I think it'd be easy to just get into a business because you want to bring in the big bucks and how much can we charge people and the biggest packages we can sell. And I ran a window cleaning business for a number of years. And what I can say and what I want you to kind of go into even a little bit more, your heart behind it. But, we would have elderly clients and they would have everybody moved out of town. Everybody's out of state now, so they don't have anyone to. They say, "Hey, there's this ledge up here. Would you mind like dusting it while you're up there?" And how far that goes is it's so cool.
Yeah, and what kind of to that point, what started that jumping off point for us, and why we're really doubling down this year, is we had my wife and I. We live like we talked about very close to one another here locally in BA. Over by the Warren Theater, and we had a neighbor move in that they were both very elderly. They were downsizing, and then tragically her husband passed away, and they're both, at the time they were in their late 80s, now she's 90, and she'd never lived alone. Her whole lifetime was with her family. Then she was married 70 years with this man, right? And, over the last year or so, I find myself over there quite often. Hey, my TV's not working. Can you help me out? Hey, simple things. I can't open these bottles. They're too tight for me, right? I can't to open my drink, right? So there's things like that, that I find myself over there quite often, and I notice my other neighbors are. And I think it's awesome. So one of my other neighbors, they've got teenage kids and young 20-year-old kids that aren't quite out of the house, but basically adults. They're always bringing her trash down for her. And then the other neighbor next to them, they're popping over if I'm not home. So I really feel like that's something that not knowing their full situation, and, I know she has kids, but not knowing where those kids all necessarily are, I think it's meaningful that we as a little unit, as a village in a neighborhood, we look out for her. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was like, well, if we can make an impact on one life, what can we do across the board, right? What can we do for people that, again, maybe they're downsizing to a retirement home? Well, can we help clear out the things after they've done their estate sale? Can we get that at a very discounted rate to make sure their money goes further? Yeah. Those are the things that we're really trying to basically fund into possibility, right?
So I hear the heart, I hear the mission, and unfortunately, we got to make money in this world. Sure. So let's get into, because the heart behind this podcast is to grow that village, to grow that community, whether that is the Broken Arrow business community or the community connecting with businesses, which is the ultimate goal. Sure. But what has to happen for you to be able to offer these services at discounted rates? How does the community have to come around your business? Sure. How can they help you?
So a big thing is, both my partner and myself, my business partner. We're both still working full time. We both have professional jobs in manufacturing, and right now we are giving some of those discounts. We're just not able to give them at the rate and at the saturation that we want, right? At the volume we want, rather. So the big thing is we're really trying to get in on the market for apartment complexes, storage units. Here in Oklahoma, you can't auction a storage unit that's abandoned. You have to just clean it out, and that falls to the owner. So if we've got local business owners that own those storage sites, I'd love to partner with them, love to be a service to clean that out for them so they can turn it around and get it making revenue for themselves, right? Same for the apartment complexes. I'm sure, whether it's an eviction or a situation where someone just left some things behind or they want to do a big trash day, those are things I want to partner with those local businesses, those local apartment complexes, and giving them a vessel to turn to a local place rather than a corporate place, right? I mean, yeah sure, you can rent a roll-off from Waste Management, right? That's a very easy thing you can call and do, but at the end of the day, it's going to help us give back. And no offense to Waste Management, but what are they doing in the local community, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see them sponsoring events. I don't see them doing things like that. I don't see them giving back to our local charities. So for me, it's something that I want to give that local option so that if someone is conscious of their community and wants to help us and get on board, they have that option for them.
So basically, businesses hiring your services provide you the ability to give these discounted rates. Man, like I almost even wonder at a capacity if, because it's not a nonprofit, but I almost wonder at a capacity if it would be something that business owners would like to also like put their name behind and say, hey, we'll sponsor 2 cleanouts, or we'll,
absolutely. Yeah. And we would definitely be open to that. I mean, to your point, it's not set up as a nonprofit now, but I definitely could see an avenue where we make that possible. And with your outreach, right, I would love for a situation to come to fruition where, maybe social media knows of these knows of candidates and can get them out to us, to yourself, and to some other local businesses. And then we do that effort. We make they basically corral us together, and we come up with a plan, and we make something happen for a candidate. I think that would be huge.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what's typically, pricing wise of a service like that you're trying to give at a discounted rate? What would that look like if somebody, what's your most typical service that you're offering? I guess if we could get into a little bit more of what the industry looks like.
Yeah, again, the most typical thing right now for us for the last, I'd say 6 months has been back to the apartment complexes and the storage cleanouts, and again, it's going to depend on per yard, right? I can't say pricing, not because it's a secret, but every scenario is different, right? But usually it's by the yard. If it's an appliance or a vehicle, something like that, that's going to be a single charge, right? But it's all going to be case by case because again, everyone's situation is just a little bit different, and comes down to how accessible is it? Can I get my trailer in there? Am I coming from the 4th floor down? Am I ground level? All those things come into play. So again, I'd say we're very competitive. I'd say in general our margin's pretty thin. We try to keep it as affordable as we possibly can and still, cover all our bases and our expenses. But at the end of the day, it's going to come case by case, just depending on what they've got, right?
And it's like I hear everything you're saying, and it pains me almost to an extent that it's an abnormality. Sure. That to approach a service with a genuine intent of how can we truly help, not how much can we charge and sell them on the service.
Sure.
It really is a thing, like you were talking about community and how the neighborhoods can really rally together behind and help each other, which in an ideal world is what it would always be. Yeah. But I would love for you to talk a little bit more about the heart behind this. Maybe if you could go a little bit into your story, whether that is a little bit about your family, but just also how did you get to this? Why do you have a heart behind this service coming from manufacturing? Yeah. Caring about it enough that you're doing it on the side.
Yeah, at the end of the day, so a little bit about me. I'm originally an Oklahoma kid. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. I joined the military in 2010 and left right there at the beginning of 2011. I was enlisted for one contract, is what they call it. So 3 years was my enlistment time. I did one tour in Afghanistan and then separated the military to San Antonio with my wife. I've been in manufacturing pretty much before and after, always, before and after the military. So the big thing about that is, to your point, it kind of seems like an oddity, if you will, but in leadership, in manufacturing especially, you meet all walks of life. They all have different backgrounds, and the other thing is, usually they're very driven, hardy people, right? And they're very capable people. So I'm surrounded by people that can do for themselves. And, most of us, I like cars. That's kind of my side hobby, if you will. And I like working on cars. I like modifying cars, and my partner is the same exact way. What's ironic is when we met, we had the same pickup truck and we had almost the same lineup of vehicles. We're both Ford guys, so it was kind of hilarious because we had a stepbrothers moment of, did we just become best friends, right? But when you're surrounded by all those people, then you get to watch what's possible. I've worked with machinists that make beautiful things, right? And make very cool things for themselves. But you also, throughout that timeline, watch people get to retirement age. You watch them kind of slowing down. You watch them selling some of those cars or other hobby items off, right? And they go from the person everybody calls to the person that needs to call someone, right? And so it's, as a leader in manufacturing, my number one role is taking care of our people. And that's what I preach to all of our guys, right? We take care of our people, they take care of us, and we keep the business stable and solid and let everyone work there for as long as they want to work there, right? And that's the goal, right? Separate the corporate initiatives, separate the earnings calls. At the end of the day, when you're at the factory, your goal is to take care of the people, keep them safe, and make sure that the business is stable, right? But again, I've been in this industry, or rather in the manufacturing industry, across automotive and aerospace for the better part of 20 years. So in that, I've watched like I said, very capable people start becoming less capable. And I'm one of those people that people call, right? And if they have a problem with a vehicle, all of my extended family, my nieces and nephews, they call me and, hey, my car's doing this. What do you think? Hey, can you fix this for me? Hey, can you help me with this? Hey, the shop's telling me this. Does that sound right? Right? And again, it just started turning in my mind, and meeting my neighbor, it just kind of continued to develop that thought process of, well, while I am the person to call, I should make the most of it. I should get my reach out as far as I can, because that's a borrowed situation, right? We only all have so much time in the world, or in our lifetime rather, and of that life, the quality of life is going to depend entirely on you, right? So for me, because I can, I would like to, right? And I just get fulfillment out of that. I've always been that type. Drives my wife crazy. I was always the type, if someone was pulled over on the side of the highway, I'd probably pull over, make sure they're all right, because I've got a set of tools, and I've got hands and capability. So, but she finds that severely unsafe. So I've scaled that back. I do that a lot less. So, be that as it may, I mean, I can't explain my need to help other than because I'm able. I feel it's my responsibility to.
Yeah, I mean, that's a beautiful thing, right? That's the heart behind the idea of community, and I think it's refreshing to hear stories like that and be like, hey, there are people out there going into business. Obviously, you got to make money, but it's not for the sake of making money, and that's such a cool thing. I'll ask you, looking out a little ways, what is your goals with this business? Is it to get out of manufacturing eventually, or is it always going to be something that you kind of do with free time? And
I've been very blessed in my life, truthfully, and I feel part of it is that I think you get what you put out into the world, and I would love for this to become a thing that I just do, right? That I don't do anything but this. So I would never put those blinders on myself to say it can only be a side thing. I'd say the goal I really have, and it may sound cheesy, but I kind of get nostalgic about things. I feel like building the connections bidirectional, two-directional, however you want to say it, what I'd like to grow this into is I'd like to hire like kids right out of high school or on the summer, and I'd like to help them learn, right? So I'm giving them a skill set, and at the same time I'm connecting them with those that need help. So I'd like to help build that community also, because for me, my biggest influence besides my parents was my grandfather. As a kid, he was retired before I was born. He was my babysitter. So he was my buddy. He was my best friend in that respect, and was, very patient, all the things great grandparents are, right? But he was very much a hands-on man, a man's man, very humble, very kind, but could pretty much fix anything he wanted to fix. There was not anything I ever saw that was over his head. But again, a very humble, Oklahoma-grown man, worked for Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City or Midwest City for 30-plus years and retired, and then had all these project cars, and then worked on all his kids' cars, and then helped his grandkids with their stuff, right? All the way until he could not, right? And then we took it from there. And I say we, really my father did that, and I have to give him the credit. He moved in with him and took care of him. He passed away in 2021, but that's a connection that I'll be forever grateful for, right? And learning about how things were done in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and learning about hot rodding in that era, and learning the skills that really make me capable of doing this and growing this from him and from my family overall, and then growing that with my wife. I feel that's the next evolution of with this business, make it stable and get the younger generation involved in that community, teach them how to use their hands, teach them how to look out for one another and their elders. And again, that's not to say the newer generation, there's a problem. It's to say where I can help, I want to help.
Yeah.
And again, I have friends that have kids that are getting to that age, and they're great kids, and I think they'll want to get on board, right? But I'd love to have that become the dynamic of this business.
Well, you're gracious in saying that it's maybe not a problem, but I mean, I'm not much younger than you. I'm a bit younger than you. I do see it as a bit of a problem in younger generations, just the being taught respect. And I was blessed enough to have two great grandfathers, and one of my grandfathers reminds me a lot of your grandfather. He lives in Wisconsin, actually, so he was always a little ways away from us, but he was a career Marine Corps guy, and I was at his place a couple of years back. He was 82, hopping off the back of his truck. He owned a mobile home park. He would crawl into the houses. He would fix people's furnaces. He would be doing everything there. And we're like, he always said the Bible doesn't talk about retirement. So he was always just like, I'm gonna be working.
Yeah.
But there are some people who don't have those values taught to them by an amazing grandfather. So that's where I think a really cool opportunity is, and I would love to see that happen with your business, where students out of high school can come on and, like, maybe they've been taught those values, maybe they haven't, but they can learn those values and see them and see how rewarding it is to give rather than just to get.
Absolutely. And to that end, I've seen some TikToks and just social media in general where, a teacher takes the lead and has a men's club or boys club, right? I think those are awesome. And I've always been curious about how I can do something like that and it not be disingenuous, where it fits me as a human and what I'm about, and something that I'm going to say an expert on as far as giving those skills, right? So for me, this is one of those opportunities of, I'm not a stick and ball sports guy, so I'm not really a coach, and I know that about myself. I'm a mechanical guy. And I can, in my mind, get involved, teach these young men how to pull a trailer, how to fix a trailer, how to work on a vehicle, how to change your tire on the side of the road when you got a full trailer, things like that, right? How to understand, make assessments, think critically, and give them those skills if that's something they're into, right? I'm not saying it's for everybody, but for those that maybe don't have that example at home and are wanting it and are looking for it, that's something we want to be able to provide.
That's awesome. So let's dial back a little bit. Where are you at with your business now? How long has it been?
So we've been doing it on the side for a better part of 6 months. Again, we're really doubling down. We've got 2 whole employees right now, Daisy and Nova. It's our golden retriever, and then my partner's German Shepherd. So if you quote us, or if you have us come quote, you'll probably get to meet the support staff in either of the trucks, depending on who shows up. And by all means, pet them and enjoy their sweet dispositions. But again, really where we're making the investments on the equipment side right now, and then we're hiring temporary labor as needed. But yeah, I'd say on the side, we've been doing it about 6 months, and then we're really, the goal really is in the next 2 years, at least one of us is transitioned completely, if not both of us.
That's awesome. What has to happen to get there? What connections are going to be the most valuable to you?
Again, it's going to be those local businesses that can use our service, right? And we're talking about expanding those services, but again, it's all going to have to be scalable. Right now, we're really in that niche that we're comfortable in, but it's those local businesses and the businesses that are just local to us that maybe are corporate in nature, thinking of us whenever they need the services that we can provide.
That's awesome. This completely derail off of that. It popped in my head, and I would be curious if you're ever involved in it. When I had my in-laws in town, there was a massive car show in the Rose District. Is that something that you're
We
part
do go
of?
every year. I don't really put a car in it. My cars are, I would say, not show quality. They're drive quality. I put my money in making them fun to drive more than making them pretty to look at. But we usually attend that show. We may attend the show that they're doing downtown in Tulsa. I believe I don't know if it's this weekend. It's coming up really soon for the 100-year Route 66 anniversary. Okay. They're trying to set a record with biggest car cruise or something like that. So that should be exciting. And again, that's the core kind of Oklahoma that I grew up with. We're cruising our cars, we're racing our cars. When I was a kid, there was no professional team anything in Oklahoma City at all. So you played with your cars. You drove cars, you raced cars, and probably the only other thing that was really prevalent was hunting and shooting, fishing, things like that. So I'd say for me, that's a fun pastime. And again, I'd love to grow this to a point where maybe we're helping sponsor things like that too.
That's super cool. What are some of your favorite cars right now that you have working on?
Again, I'm a big Ford guy, so that's really where my niche is for myself. But I really like anything that I'm going to say a cliche thing, anything cool. And by cool, I mean something really well thought out, right? And maybe unique. It doesn't have to be everybody's cookie cutter example of a Mustang or Camaro or Challenger. For me, I want to see you put your stamp on it, and you made it fun for you to drive, because, car culture is a lot different than when I was a kid, and some for the better, some for the worse. When I was a kid, there was more purists of you can't engine swap it because how dare you, right? It was perfect like it was. And on the other side of it now, it's almost like if it's not engine swap, nobody wants to see it on Instagram, right? So to me, it's that balance of make something that you're happy with, something that you're proud of, and something that you did it with this, right? That you didn't necessarily, not to say you can't pay anybody for anything, but that you put your hands on, put your mark on, right?
Do you have a car that's like your baby right now?
Yeah, so I bought a Mustang in 2014 when I got back from Afghanistan that I've had since then, still have it. It's full chassis underneath. It's more of a road race car kind of setup, but if you saw it in the parking lot, it's pretty unassuming other than being really low. It looks basically like every other Mustang. It's whenever you look underneath it.
What year is it?
It's a 2014. I bought it new.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to start with a fresh kind of canvas, so I didn't want to buy a car someone had already started with. So I bought a base model 6-speed car, and it's been evolving since then.
One of my first, I started with a 95 Honda Accord was my dad's car.
That
was my first driving car. It was reliable.
That thing would still probably drive today.
And then I went and I bought a 2001 Mustang GT.
Yeah, perfect.
It was white. It was a beautiful car. And I lived in Minnesota at the time and took it out with one light dusting of snow and was like, I will die if I drive this in the winter. So that sat in the garage and I sold it the next year. But it was fun to have for a little while.
For sure. And down here you get more fair weather days, so you can enjoy them a little more. So it's ironic because I daily drove it forever, and then at the time it was all I could afford is to have it and drive it, right? I couldn't have it as a side quest. So once it was paid off and I got into something else, then the car got a lot more radical, and it got a lot more fun because, you know, as I was modifying it, it was becoming less of a nice daily, and really stiff and kind of harsh and loud, and, you know, a lot of noises, and, you know, couldn't really talk on the phone inside of it or anything. So it started to become less of a fun car at the end of daily driving it. And then once it made transition to being just a fun thing, every time I drive it, it's like, yeah, this is why I keep it, because it's a blast. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's a cool thing that you'll be able to pass on to people is the love for that. I mean, because I've never been good with cars. You know, I know maybe more than some around a car, but not much. But just seeing people's passion for different things is it's always super cool, and just like leaning into that, and how, you know, like you said, you know, some people, it might not be for everyone, but.
So I will say the thing I'm most excited project-wise personally is I got a K truck from my brother-in-law. Yeah, I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like it looks like a little cab and flatbed truck, but it's small. It's like 5 foot wide. It's like a little baby truck. So it needs an engine. I'm working that out, but I'd like to. My plan is for it is to get it running, get it kind of freshened up, and then I'm gonna wrap it for the business, and that way we can cruise around with the pups in the back.
That's not those Japanese trucks, is it?
Yeah, it
okay,
is.
Then I have. Yeah, those are fun. I saw one at the car show.
Yep. So yeah, I've got one of those in my garage on some wheel skates that I move out of the way when I don't have time to mess with it.
Put that thing in the parades. Put that thing in the shows.
Yeah,
it's
exactly
eye-catching.
what I want to do.
Park it somewhere and use it as a billboard.
Yeah, I kind of thought about a little side hustle for like coffee or something, you know, like at some of these little events. Yeah, because that flatbed, it all flips down to where it is just a flatbed, so you could just like set your coffees and stuff up on the back of it. I don't know. For me, I see it and I think, man, it's like not something you're gonna like drive fast or drive down the highway, but man, it could be cool at a lot of these little events, you know.
Yeah, I think people would eat that up.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Especially if we bring the pups out. I think that would really make it fun.
No, that's cool. I like that you bring the dogs on your jobs. I have a friend who runs a tree trimming business, and his black lab is always a staple. Yeah. He's always with them.
Yeah, they bring the vibes up, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Trying to think where we should go with this. So I would love it if you could, man. I think when I'm thinking about your business and I'm thinking about where you're at now and where you're trying to go, I guess what's the next step for you? What's the you know, it's getting connected with local businesses, but how does it go when you're trying to find like, hey, here's someone that I can provide, you know, discounted services for? Like, is that something that people would like say, hey, I know so-and-so who needs some help, or they reach out to you and you just kind of gauge the situation? Well,
and here's the thing. I think any kind of engagement with us on our social media is huge, right? So if you guys know anything or know of a candidate that you really want to see us help and want to get us connected with, I'd say that's the biggest way to connect with us. And I'll share that with you. I'll share our social medias. That way, whenever this comes out, you know, you guys can post that. But at the end of the day, that I think is the best thing. Get us aware. Because here's the thing. We're the type of people, you call me in the morning, even if I'm at my regular big boy job, in the evening when I get off work, I'm going to swing by. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to talk to my business partner, and we're going to get it going, right? So for us, that's the biggest thing, is just getting that reached out to us, either social media or call us on the phone directly, any of those types of things, and just get us aware of it. That way we can start making a plan to help that person, right?
Awesome. And then if somebody wants to hire your services for their business or for their home, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
The best way, again, is the social medias. They can hit us on Facebook. They can hit us on TikTok. We're going to have them email us photos and that kind of thing, and then more than likely an address so we can come evaluate in person. Again, as a millennial, you can always text me. You can always call me. Leave me a message. If I don't answer, I'll get right back to you. My phone's always on me, as it is everyone else. So same for my partner. That one or the other of us are going to get back to you. We have a phone. We have like a Google phone number, so both of us get all the messages. So if you don't hear from one of us, you're going to hear from the other of us, right? Probably within the hour, more than likely.
That's awesome. Well, I want to give you, if I can get it, it's in my pocket right here. I want to give you, this is another business that has an amazing cause. They didn't sponsor or anything like that, but it's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
It's called Not Your Average Joe's. They're out of, it's called Emerson Orthodontists.
Okay.
I don't know the whole story, but I do know that the orthodontist, whoever the owner was, wanted to start a coffee shop out of there. And eventually it didn't end up working really well. It's kind of a tough location, but that coffee shop has a few locations around Oklahoma, and they hire people with special needs. And it's really like a launching pad for them. So their staff is amazing and just super bubbly and great coffee, great place. Great. So, I mean, really with everything I'm doing, with what you're doing, the goal is to build community, to build that tribe. And it's like, not everyone's going to want that, and that's fine, but really finding those businesses who believe in causes that they want to, you know, help support you or help support a coffee shop with a good cause, or help support what I'm doing, which is helping to support you guys. And I would love it, and I'm going to put it out on our socials too. But I would love to just kind of put the bat signal up and say, hey, this is what he's doing. This is what his cause is. If any businesses, you know, want to hire him, whether for a service or if you don't need his service, put it as another giving cause.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I mean, that's awesome. And you know, I'm not a coffee guy, but my wife is, and I say that to say that's probably going to be our new spot, because that's the goal, right? Is build those local businesses.
Yeah, sounds good. Anything else that you want to leave people with?
No, I think this is awesome. I think it's great what you're doing. You know, I appreciate your story and reaching out to the community to do these types of things. I mean, for us, it's huge. And I know, again, like I said in the beginning, you're going to get what you put into it, which is all that positivity. So again, I'm excited we got to get in on the ground floor with you. So yeah, well, I'd love to come back in a year and let's check in, you know.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for coming on and for the conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jake.